Afternoon as we get into the final couple hours here. Banking stocks, bit of a problem this afternoon. I was just reading a note on regional banks specifically and some debt concerns. Once again, if you remember back to the beginning of the year, we had a bunch of those go under because of higher interest rates and the pace at which interest rates were rising at that time. They just couldn't keep up. So a few of them, SVB, one of those going down to the pink sheets. But banks under pressure. I'll show you the board here in a second. I want to mention this one as well. Netflix, 0.65. It's tested this 485 area a couple of times today and has failed. We're rolling over again under 484 this time. But Netflix coming up next week as far as earnings are concerned. Netflix and Tesla next week going to be a busy week. There they are. Berkshire, 0.5% to the upside, everything else basically in negative territory. Not huge moves, but notable. Citigroup and Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo a little bit better off now, but Citigroup down more than a full percent on the day. That's Charles Schwab. Tough to see, but 1.7% for Schwab. Downside, tech doing its best job to offset that and then some. Meta among those with a pretty good day. We'll talk about Meta coming up 1.5%. Apple down here. Yep, finally gets an upgrade, 3% to the upside, just like that. We came in this morning and it was gapping up more than 2% on a Bank of America upgrade. 3.7 there for QCOM with a nice day. AVGO, Broadcom as well, also up. Eli Lilly standing out here, notably weak, along with UNH, Tesla as well. Obviously 2.5% downside. Not great for Tesla. There's the overall market, though, still holding on to a pretty good day. We're off the highs. We did get more Fed speak coming through today. That was a little bit on the hawkish side once again. So yesterday it was dovish. Today we get the hawkish side of the conversation. So back and forth we go. Really no significant data now until, there's GDP next week, and then we're waiting for Fed Chair Powell coming up in 2.5 weeks still. Very last day of the month, we will hear from Fed Chair Powell, January 31st, the next Fed meeting. Won't be any change on that day. Everyone looking out to March now saying maybe not even on that day. I'll grab the Fed funds tool maybe here this afternoon. We'll have a look at that because it's being pushed down the road, as we've been saying. June possibly now, or even I saw a couple of people talking about Q3, maybe even before we get any kind of rate cuts coming through this year. So the higher for longer wording and terms continuing here. Market ticking back to the upside. Let's get into a bit of a review as we get going this afternoon after what was a decent start to the day anyways for the overall market. We were talking about semiconductors down here. Pretty impressive once again today for NVDA and AMD, surfing around all-time highs as they have been all week long, guys. The biggest reason anyways, that is still up 1%.
Well, it started with TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor, overnight. Early morning, overnight, whatever you want to call it, when they get the report. I don't remember what time it is. You just wake up to it when they report over there in Asia. And they were already gapping. They guided well. I sat down today to pretty much every single chip name gapping up, bar none. So everything was pretty strong. The new position that doesn't have anything to do with anything is PayPal. So PayPal just took out the high of the day. That's the reason for that. But it wasn't all roses because everything started to come back in here. I guess you saw Sharif getting long Rivian off the bottom, not Rivian, NVIDIA off the bottom, but they led early and then faded. Now, I was in Micron. I'm now in Intel, but these are shorts on the way back in. As a matter of fact, Intel off for the lows. AMD early on went for a breakout, looked like the long was good, and then stalled out, and then it's just been flushing. It's only now rebounding back to 161. It got underneath the previous 52-week high close, so it couldn't even hold on to that at 162. I tried the long there for about 20 cents. Right? I didn't really give it a lot of room. I was going in the dip, give it to that previous all-time high, but the chips were so strong, and then they just sold off the top and sold. It seems as if we're getting a little bit of a bounce now, but 17,000, like the NASDAQ's up 1%, and we're back above 17,000, trying to break the opening range. The chips aren't at VWAP. So there's it says chips lead on the board because that's what we had there this morning, but they led the way to the downside. Okay, that's not true. EV names led the way to the downside. The chips were a close second for most of the day here. I think your leadership has gone a little bit elsewhere in this push to the upside. I think as these start to get into VWAP, there's probably some fade plays. just keep in mind how at about 215, 220 yesterday, how much buying there was in a bunch of chip names. You might see a little something like that again, at least the way the futures are starting to go. But it was different. It was actually a sell event past about 10 o'clock.
All right, guys, welcome, man. Wow, what a morning, what an afternoon, what a midday. I mean, generally you don't get too much action on the midday, but man, did we have it here today with just a bunch of different things coming through. We did not even trade AMD until it broke through 161, and then we just absolutely destroyed that all the way down to 159. And we actually still had some here, but now we're averaging back into the short right now, which, as Neil mentioned, is not working. We're gonna try to give this just a little bit, like 161.30, something like that. We are now short AMD right here, right now, but it's been a day to remember, man. Shopify still in this 250 in the money. Alibaba we're long again. Roblox we're into some shorts. Square, we'll have to wait about Square. Oh, you're mentioned into PayPal breaking the high, so it's going to be a little bit.
Where's Square?
No, it's still down. Well, it's not even anywhere near the high. I don't know. I'm surprised.
Really?
Well, PayPal had the different news the other day.
PayPal cost cutting, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly, and some layoffs and whatnot. Affirm has been firmed up, man. This is still a big trade for us as well here. The thing is this is where we got carried away yesterday. So we're already, we're still there, but you can give it all back just by screwing around this afternoon. Make sure you wait for the best setups, and we'll be here to try to help you through all of that as well. So AMD, my newest position, and really the only one that I'm worried about. Square, we have that position, and it's gonna be coming out if we can break above 93. It must be that little top right there. I don't even want to give this to 64. So I'm just going to see if it goes. There's 93. It's that little top wick. Very, very conservative trade here. As I said, futures in a very, very difficult spot right now. They're exactly pretty much in the middle right now. I mean, whenever you're hovering around VWAP like this, you're in the middle. So, you're just breaking higher back over 17,000. So I feel like the story is still yet to be written here today, and we want to stay as conservative as we can. Like, look, there goes AMD. There goes AMD, guys. Nice little downside move. Let's punch a little bit out. We weren't even sitting on the bid there. Come on, AMD, let's go, man. We just took 2 dimes there. Let's see if it gets back down in for AMD as we want to try to hold the short on this. The chips were falling apart for some reason. We'll see if they continue, but right there, good hold on AMD. Too bad we missed that 81 or whatever it was.
All right, here is the, as I was mentioning, Fed funds tool, just really quick. It's 50-50, essentially. 42.9% now that we stay where we are, and then 55, we'll say 56. It's 55-45.
For March?
In favor of a cut for March. So that's wow. Down from 80 plus. Remember at one point it was 80 plus, that we were definitely 100% going to get a quarter point cut in March. So you got to go all the way out to June before you start seeing some of the smaller numbers come into play a little bit heavier, so half a point or 0.75 at least to the downside. So as I was saying, it's this conversation is being pushed down the road a little bit on these rate cuts. Yeah, back above 1% here for the overall market. Apple on the list this morning as well, coming off positive notes and some positive news as well for the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and 9, in the sense that they're going to sell them just without the blood oxygen sensor.
Yeah, which is good, because yesterday the court removed the injunction that it had placed on Massimo's order to actually get Apple to stop selling those watches in the United States. But it's not the only catalyst today, Brenda. We also had a Bank of America upgrade. Analyst Wasami Mohan liking Apple to the tune of $225, increasing his price target from 208 and moving it from neutral to a buy, basically saying that the generative AI wave is not going to spare Apple, and they're going to have their say with respect to AI. Also citing the services sector, 2.5 billion active devices. Brendo.
Yeah, hasn't been participating in the overall market move the past couple of weeks, but all it takes is Bank of America to give the thumbs up.
2 billion is not a bad number.
For some reason, and I will get to banks. Is that what we're talking about? Apple?
No, it's Apple.
We'll talk. Hey. I mean, Apple right now is $2. Okay, so whatever. Let's just forget about that. Let's do that. AMD, for some reason, just gave a reload up there. I just got short at 20s right there on AMD as it just blasted to the upside. So I'm starting to now get some out, because these stocks are like wild, wild west right now, guys. Like, there we go. We just got an 05. Did we just get it? Are we bidding 05s or what? Yeah, we got it. Okay. So now, look at this, into 98s now. We are collapsing. Yes, let's go. We just took this trade, guys, by the way. We did get punched out of our square, but we did average back into AMD, and now this one go boom to the downside. Let's see what happens with AMD. Remember, we're out at 161 in change. We just missed our 161.25. Look, man, Apple, and more Apple. I didn't even reload this. I didn't do anything. We're still long 186. We love the news today. We love the upgrades. We love the watch news. The ban is now still there, but they said, who cares? So do I. Who cares? Apple right now back up to day's high. I don't know if you punch 188, 189 long. I mean, if you want to, you can. We're already long down here. Watch out for VWAP because it missed it there pretty good. Like it took 187.50 all the way down to 187, but that just was 187 bought up, right? It went to 186.80. I feel like that's definitely a long. I felt like today was super easy because it was an Apple day. It's the #1 name here on the sticky note, and I just feel like it was a no-brainer for me. So that one has to be the #1 stock for me. Although it's right with Google, which is the #2 idea on here. But we're really happy with the way Apple traded. And I think Apple hits 200 before it hits 180 at this point. So I think we'll be long forever. Just quickly, Neil, I'll throw it to you, but people are asking about HUD 8. So all I did...
Oh, yeah, please do.
All I did was I went to Benzinga right here because they're sponsoring again. And right here, pumping the coming HUT pump and dump. Management hiding something about ownership here, so we can go find it out.
So these guys are a short seller.
Yeah, J Capital Research issued a report, so go find it, J Capital Research. I'm not going to go through it right now.
Yeah, I don't want people to get the idea like that's like Reuters or something. These guys are short.
Yeah, the last news we had on it was from the 12th. So, yeah, today, the 18th, J Capital.
And so that's why, for those that were asking, that's why HUT is down 25% today. It's not.
I'm so glad I got out of that.
It's not like Bitcoin is doing anything that would justify that move. It's not. Bitcoin's not strong today, but it's, 25% down because of that report. I'm glad you got Apple. I'm looking at it, so I'm going to talk about PayPal because
AMD.
If it wasn't an EV name, or it wasn't a chip name today, or it wasn't a firm, then I probably wasn't really trying to trade it that much. Really? And if anything, the biggest fail for me today was like today was the day that I wasn't trying to short Fisker or Lucid. And we'll look at those charts in a second, but I'll get just only because PayPal is like the market's going. I feel like this is a strong stock that should be doing a little bit more than it is. It's at 3% to 2.75% to the upside. There was cost cutting, CEO saying all the right stuff here. But it's starting to run out of steam as the market is pressing. We just got another 30 points here on the NASDAQ. My target is now moving to like 62. I thought you could get a little bit more out of this on the break, but it might just be like, it's almost the half. The break of the high was at 40s. So I think it's getting into the 62 level because if the futures get to the high and a stock breaking out the top doesn't go a little faster than this, I'll be disappointed. The other position I'm in is Intel short, which I just took a scalp trade out of it. It's a very tight range at the bottom, so if the market's breaking higher, it should play the range at the bottom here on Intel. But PayPal wasn't the only ones talking about job cuts. Also, a much larger company in one of the Mag 7 was doing so as well, Brendan.
I wasn't expecting it. Let's talk Google here. There's a couple of things to note today. There were some job cuts in the YouTube division. Sundar Pichai coming out saying that there's going to be more coming up later in the year. There's also this as well. Google going to invest one of its many billions in a UK data center as well, announced early on this morning. So nice day for Alphabet today.
Well, if you believe Lisa Su, there's going to be a ridiculous amount of money being spent on data centers, Brendo, into 2030. She was positing something like $700 billion is going to be spent between now and the end of the decade. With respect to the job cuts aspect of it, though, we already know that Google laid off about 6% of their workforce last year. That amounted to about 12,000 jobs. This time, basically, Sundar Pichai is saying that they have ambitious goals, like you just mentioned, with spending on data centers. And in order to finance that, they're going to have to take cuts somewhere else. So sadly, some people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, a bit of a V-bottom forming here, big time in the overall market, just marching higher, guys. Google being a little bit laggy with this.
At least this time we got it. Look at this. You want to talk about real trading. We're going to talk more about that as you'll hear more about it as we go. But there's Google 142. I mean, we wrote down here that we wanted 142, and we were lucky enough that it just fell right in off the open. There's the 142. There's a bunch of outs with our best one being 143.15, and then there's the final 10% right there at 143.50. It does go as high as 144. The biggest mistake for me was getting out of something called Amazon. We'll talk about that after all of this. But right there, that was a great trade for Google, and all we really did was try to go long off of yesterday's close. So we had that there. We knew we liked the story, and I was telling everybody, like, this is what I do. I come in, look at the watch list, basically find the stories, know some names that we like, and then just give it to you. Apple 186 long. Shout out to Nick W. Nick W. said he made $1,000 on that trade, so that's great. Congratulations, Nick Dub. And then, maybe I made basically the same amount on Apple and Google today. So there's the Google long 142. Cost cutting, AI. I mean, I love Google. I love all the tech names. But there it goes. Google, nicely done. And again, look at that barcode midday. This is like what you're looking for. So that was another long area right there. So
yeah, you know what?
Anyways, tough trade, but was there.
It wasn't tough because you had one level, you got fill. So I think I love the trades where it's like it's one and done, kind of like you get that one shot at the level and then it bounces from there. But I'm only talking about this consolidation. I didn't trade Google today. Just repeat what I said about EV names. Should trade more of those. But I think when you have a relatively strong stock in Google, while not at the high of the day when the markets are trying to press the high of the day, it is up 1.4 to the NASDAQ's 1.2. So it is doing just fine. Now above VWAP, I think you look at levels like this. When it holds, when this long, you're actually able to risk 25 cents to get a stock which is in a slight uptrend. Like that kind of a trade, long consolidation for an hour. If you take the break, maybe you can wait it out and get 80s, but your risk is to 60. So I call that 25 cents. It's actually 20, but there's nothing wrong with that. I think looking for some of those trades, if things just go sideways for way too long, that can be good. And the best thing about this is keep in mind, while this was going sideways, remember the bond auction at 1 o'clock? Did the market not tank? Or the market went to the downside eventually off that bond auction and trended, and Google held the low. So if you see a stock do that, usually that means it's relatively strong. Just a couple of things here, just to update. Like Intel, scalped some out, took some more off this high. If it breaks this local top, gonna get out. It's just above the 50 level. And PayPal did finally make another push in there. It just wicked 70s. Or 67, close to 67, 61.70. So I got some out on the way back in. So PayPal still trending up. Not sure it does more than the 62 level, but hey, the market is strong today. Think about this. It was a lot of the best trades. I'm looking at least my board. A lot of the shorts on the way back down, especially during lunchtime. But it's still two bulls on the table, even though they're getting knocked over, and the market is trending higher. So, you got to be able to play that trend. Find the names that are relatively strong, long those, and find the names that are relatively weak and short those is an easy way to go.
All right, Meta's board getting a shakeup slightly this morning. We'll touch on that. I just saw this, thought it was kind of interesting as well. Mark Zuckerberg saying today by the end of the year, Meta will have 350,000 H100.
Wow, those are 40,000 or pop.
That's quite a few.
Yeah,
quite a few.
That's a lot of money to spend there, Brendo. Yeah, Sheryl Sandberg, former chief operating officer of Meta, who left in June 2022, has now left the board. She used to be known as the only adult in the room back in 2008 when everybody at that startup was still a young college kid. So she'll be missed. She's going to focus on her own company now that helps empower women.
So total on this note, 950 H100s or H100, 950,000 H100 equivalents or H100s for Meta.
Meta? Okay.
So look, I didn't trade Meta today.
Llama.
Red Pajama?
That's what their large language model is called.
Oh, well, yeah, but my head goes to the
Llama.
book. I read that to my daughter every now and then. Well, now she reads it to me.
Yeah.
It's a kid story, guys. It's not nothing.
Really,
to do
Llama Red Pajama is a kid story? What? Wait, what?
Just in case anybody didn't know what the hell I was talking about, which I'm assuming you probably don't. Don't do the Randy thing when he's not here. What's going to happen one of these days is like old man one of us is going to do that turn, and then I'm going to pull a muscle right here. and then everyone's going to be laughing at me, and I'm going to blame you, Fabian. I didn't trade Meta today. I don't know if you traded Meta. There was a dip buy opportunity at the open, but let's just suffice to say it wasn't the one I was gunning for, because I was looking at previous. What is with the scaling of this chart? Can we come to my chart for a second, even though it looks like ridiculous? 367 and then previous close. You didn't get any shot at those levels for the dip and rip. But the good thing about it is you got to be patient. How many times have you looked for the dip buy, gotten it too early, and then you get kind of punked? This wasn't even a situation where I could have started in on the position early. I couldn't do it. It bounced off 370 even. If 370 wasn't your level on Meta, you're not making the trade. I love what's going on here on the daily chart. I think we have a decent chance at testing a breakout tomorrow on Meta. You got a 377 double top. So, we bounced off that 77. I suppose it's likely a short opportunity there if it gets there today. But tomorrow should be looking at grip and rip, potential breakout on Meta through 377. The Sandberg news is not a big deal. It's not. I mean, she hasn't. Again, it's just, you knew she was scaling down.
Yeah.
She was with the board, but eventually she was going to leave and pursue other interests. I think tomorrow we look for a 377 break. I think this afternoon I'd look for maybe a short off that double top on the daily. But yeah, no trades for me on Meta. Would have to make some kind of a move.
So we just shorted Tesla. I forgot to mention it to you, and all of a sudden I just start seeing the net just ripping up because we're getting some fills down here. So we took 25 cents. We shorted 211. You could see it on the board there. Problem is I actually don't have that many positions. We just got out of Shopify, and I just tweeted it out as well. Shopify breaks 78, and I got out. I mean, there's not much else I could do there. We're short from right here from the morning. Remember we got stopped out, and then I was like, we should have just used VWAP. So then we did that for 20 cents, and then just took $2. That's a 10-to-1 flush right there on the downside. So we'll cash out some, and we'll put that name obviously back into Greensville, and then. Are we talking about Tesla? No, we're not. So we'll talk about. I don't have any trades on Meta. What Neil said was right. I think you just continue to watch Meta. It's been such a strong stock, breaking above that 380, getting into that area, which is its all-time high. That after they reverse split, it seemed like on that number on their name change, but instead it just went straight down to $100 on valuation. Okay, so Tesla, basically I shorted it against that high right there. It's not anything other than that. It's short 211, out 211.30. That's 30 cents worth of risk. We already took 30 cents and we already took 50 cents. So it could turn red because we still have 60% of this trade. But we're hoping for lower here on Tesla. If you guessed my next fill would be somewhere around 210, then you're going to be right because that's where we're sitting right now.
210.11.
Yes, that is exactly what I have it. That's exactly what I have it. So 210, that's exactly right.
No, I
think I always do that.
It's a trading thing. Traders tend to have, this doesn't matter because
that was literally exactly where I had it.
Traders have habits around even dollar levels. Like if you're bidding out in front of the even, like I just know on Tesla, more likely to put it at 11 than he is at 21 or 22. I'm more likely to put it at 12 or 22. Sean's going to put it at 11 almost every time. Let's get to the desk there. We have one more thing that we didn't trade to talk about.
Yeah, Burke kind of boring today, really. We had a huge gap to the downside off earnings, and then it does nothing but just chop around and go sideways today. Overall, the report itself, not horrible, but the forecast a problem for Birkenstock.
Yeah, Brendo, missing the guide there. The street was looking for about 1.8 billion. They guided about 1.75 to 1.77 for the next quarter, and as such, they sold off aggressively. Tesla Advisory Group maintaining an outperform on Birkenstock and a price target of $56, basically expecting it to grow its addressable market and drive average selling prices into 2024.
Yeah, one of the better IPOs from last year still, guys, Birkenstock on a daily chart.
Here, I feel like, we have no problem talking about all the market, but the market is really starting,
I see some Amazon stuff, but yeah.
We're really going now.
Amazon, I don't know.
We just got short some Roblox there again.
I just got out of Intel, so
I do want to talk about everything. It's not. I'm not trying to avoid anything here.
Well, here's the thing. We didn't trade Birkenstock, but there was some conversation about Birkenstock yesterday in the afternoon and where it looked good on the daily chart. If you just blindly took, and look, I'm not saying you should do this, but yesterday we're sort of saying IPO high and then consolidation breakout was at 42. if it gets down there, that might be a good dip buy. There's zero chance I was ever going to try to do that because the liquidity is nonsensical and it was low, and at the open, I'm not trading a stock for the first time with that kind of liquidity. But if you did it, congratulations to you. But what just happened, again, I didn't see anything. I saw a bunch of notes on Amazon, which has nothing to do with the market getting to the highs. But I had just reloaded Intel and scalped the bottom of the range and was stopped out a minute later. So we're starting to break higher. I only have PayPal on now, so I'm starting to think we should be getting to the 62 level. The market wants to fly to the upside. I don't understand why I'm making that face, and I'm not even a left-handed hitter. But
Nice home run, nice home run.
But I do have my mind on baseball season because we just booked spring training. But the market just made a big move up, and I don't see anything that's other than we have just basically bounced off 17,000 and are continuing higher. So the first thing on my mind is a firm at VWAP, and can we short it?
I like that. Yeah, I don't know what just happened right there. I just want to talk quickly about Roblox because it was our most recent fill. My stop is 38.71, like a break above 70. I told you I'm not trying to hold it past this level. It worked out perfectly to the downside. So there's no way I'm going to let this just rip up against us. So we'll wait for it. We've already taken a little bit of profit on, well, we took a lot of profit on this trade. But here goes Tesla again. It came up to, we're getting out if it breaks 30. We talked about that. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But right now it's Tesla's on my mind as the market just took off. It just like blasted to the upside. I think I told this to Sharif. I don't think he mentioned to anybody else. I bought Tesla 209 today in my long-term account at lunch. So it wasn't 209. It must have been in here. 209 and change. It was down into here, 209.80, something like that. So we bought some more Tesla today. I bought some more Palantir today, and I bought Apple off the open. So we'll have to watch out for those stocks. But I like the action here in the NASDAQ. Plus, we had Danielle Shea on yesterday, and she was talking about the put-call ratio being like way off, so to favor the put side. So like when these earnings come and they're banger earnings, which they're going to be for all of these names, the NASDAQ is going to explode. So
Kablooey.
You're going to have to watch out for that, if you believe in that.
Kablam.
I'm going to get stopped out right here on Tesla. Like going short on this one might be a mistake. I'm glad we took a little bit of profit early, but it looks like we'll lose late.
This is an everything rally.
Yeah.
Southwest highs of the day up 5.5%. Spirit Airlines.
What isn't that? Well,
Okay, this isn't the high of the day, but effectively, you guys know when they drop the news that they're, I guess, looking for alternative, whatever the heck they say when you're about to go bankrupt. That was at 530. So it's right back to the 530 level. Under different circumstances, I think I would have been, if I was faster and gone somewhere like here instead of flipping to the firm, I think I would have shorted this at 520. But we talk about preparation all the time. I will let you guys know this because it is worth mentioning. When I popped in the middle of the day and gave you guys the news about Spirit Airlines, I didn't have any locates for the shares. We had to pay for them today.
Boo.
I was really slow to get them. You probably could have shorted the $5 level at will and then even on a rebound, but you got to be prepared. If you already had locates knowing the stock is in play, that was an easy short twice off 5. You just had to be looking at the stock when the news came out. But the market is going absolutely nuts. Apple continues to press. What is Microsoft doing? I'm going to go to Meta in a second. I just haven't looked at Microsoft today, that's all. Not at the high of the day. I just know 95 is a thing. Oh, we're not even close. Okay, so Microsoft is nowhere near 395. Keep that one in the back pocket. Meta, it was 77 on Meta. 95 on Microsoft if we happen to get there. I'm shooting for PayPal evens at 62. That's just back into this level of 12. I'll tell you this, like today has been a day of taking profit for me and then just getting back into the trade if we can. I said I would short a firm if the market got back to the high of the day, and this was at VWAP. A firm's so bad, it's not even at VWAP right now. It's not
so
even
bad, it's good.
Well, my reload on a firm was at the quarters. It's not even at the 40 quarter. Like you can't even get the lower high right now. Like you'd have to short it at another lower high, which last I checked, if the market's making highs and a stock is putting in a lower high, that's like a short the pop situation to me. I'll probably get out if it breaks 20s, but come on, if this stock ain't going up right now, I'll take a shot there. I don't see any long entries that I really love, so I'm just going to be a bit patient here. So that was a lot of not talking about Birkenstock, apparently.
No, I'm kind of doing the exact same thing here. Well, yeah, Birkenstock. Because the market's moving. I mean, what are we supposed to do?
Talk about Birkenstock is what we're supposed to do.
No.
No. I'm joking. About that.
Yeah.
You guys wouldn't be happy.
Do what we want around
No,
here.
you wouldn't be happy if we sat here talking about Birkenstock because we put it on the board, right?
I just want to show you just quickly here. I don't know if AMD's getting exhausted or not. I don't know if it was Hampton Trader or who it was there. I'm going to try one more against 162. AMD's just ripped up. Remember yesterday I said it was my worst stock because I was like, oh, I'm going to short this name. So we're not going to, we'll short now, but if this breaks 162, we've already tried to short a couple times. It was great only one time, and that was right here when we broke through 161 when the whole market was collapsing. Not now as the market goes back up to highs. So very, very soon we shall be out of this one. It's Brendan Wickens.
AI entry and exit signals coming to your copy of Trade Ideas very shortly. I think they just added that today even. I have to ask Michael Noss. But go take advantage of this PMC tournament coming up. I believe it's next week, $2,400 top prize on an Amazon gift card. If you have not grabbed your copy, go do so right now. Bottom right corner of the screen, you can scan that QR code, take advantage of that. Trader TV 20 for 20% off.
So just to answer your question, Dan Fang, PayPal is at 62. Now, generally speaking, I'd already be out. But because of the way the futures pressed into the high, I'm just going to trail it to 90 and give it a chance that it just wants to continue to go. Because I don't see an entry up here. Like if there was I see no possible setup for me to go long. I'm not taking a 62 break. I don't like buying the top of a parabolic move. I'd rather get stopped out and it continue to go. And as I was saying, like the NASDAQ is right at the top, at the high. If it pulls back from here, then I want to get out on this high. Ideally, I'm not looking for long entries when the futures are tapping the top. Like I'm looking for outs of longs and entries to shorts. As a day trader, you can do that, so why not? It behooves you. It doesn't behoove you, but anyway, just trade your own book. I don't like taking longs if the futures are at. We just went bottom to top here, man. If we don't pull back. If we don't pull back, fair enough, but I'd rather lock in profits and then work into some shorts. I don't see anything. I mean, a firm is setting up here, no questions. Micron 85 could be a thing.
I just shorted AMD, and AMD right now is spinning a little bit. I want to say a big bang here for Mark Knight. What's up, Mark Knight? It's 16 months, baby. Come on, AMD. We are now 30 cents in the money. And again, remember, this is 12 cents worth of risk. So boom, we just got a 71 right there. Shout out to Mark Knight, man. Thank you so much for your kind words and for being a member here. I mean, it's important to us to get all the members, but I want to acknowledge people that have been here for a minute because
16 months, man.
Yeah, man, you guys know what's good, and you can see that this is the usual suspects over here, right? I mean, we're adding so much to the show with Adara and Sharif and Sticky Notes. And all this stuff that it's really meant a lot to us to continue this for everybody. So, all right. And meanwhile, look at Alibaba right now. I mean, we bought that one. First of all, that's 0 for 1. Bring it back. So nice move back upside right now for Alibaba. We did get out of Shopify. We talked about that one. I'm going to put another offer right now on Alibaba. See if
Alibaba just spike?
Yeah.
Look at the spike in NEO.
Well,
no, but NEO was doing absolutely nothing. Like, what was it, $6 yet? What the heck is this?
It's a flat bottom boom.
I don't even know what you call that because it didn't break down. It's not halted. It's literally not moving. It was doing nothing. It was at $6.10. It spiked to $6.20, and it's just now doing nothing again. Like, what's up with
Alibaba
that?
is ripping though. So
well, my guess is it did that spike on
yeah.
sympathy to Alibaba because usually NEO doesn't do crap in the afternoon, which is why I got out of Dodge at about 120. I guess that long would have worked out if I'd held onto it. But as I said, futures at the highs, looking for shorts, jump into a firm. The worst of the worst continues to be bad, if that's even a thing. So to me, pick on bad names. If it's making lower highs, that means the trend is down. If it's simple to say. If it's making higher lows, that means the trend is up. So go long strong stocks, go short weak stocks. When the futures are at a key level, try to make a trade. The airlines are absolutely flying. I think we showed, what did I show you guys? Save and, no, it was
UAL?
Southwest.
Oh, Southwest.
LUV was
I
up.
love that stock.
There's
Volume going nuts on NEO.
It is going nuts.
Maybe there's news.
Okay, there's AAL. But all the airlines are going nuts. But NEO did make a huge spike. Maybe it wasn't just sympathy. I don't know. I think it was just sympathy because it's immediately dying down. But that's a huge volume spike. That's the biggest candle since the open.
But sympathy, I mean, yeah, Alibaba's going. I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, we'll just go diamond hands a little bit, man. We're 40 cents in the money. I like to hold on a little bit more to this now, as we just. So again, you know, we have to be. What just happened? Something just happened there. I just got stopped out on something. Oh, it was it Square? No, what just stopped out? Oh, Roblox. That sucks. So right there on Roblox, now we'll be basically flat on it. That sucks. Fail right there. Sorry, guys. I really love Roblox long, but today I thought the short was going to be good. And we talked about that. I came on the midday show and I was like, you know, you start the short there and then get it when it hits this level and then bring it to the downside. That's basically what we did again. We almost mimicked the exact trade again right there, but this time it breaks higher. So win on this, lose on that, and it puts us flat. So we'll have to wait to see what happens with Roblox now moving forward. Not too concerned really about anything. Now, AMD did fly to the downside. We did not. My best fill there is what? Okay, 57, went as low as 40s. So again, look where we're short. You guys can see it, 61.88. You can see the price that we're short there. So we're out if it breaks above O's again. Just make sure. Yep. And so that's 12 cents worth of risk, more than that taken here. And now we only have about 25% left. So would love that to have continued to the downside, but like you just mentioned, Micron and some other names starting to move around a bit. So we did get stopped out of pretty much all of our shorts now, which is fine. Like our net is still near the high of the day. We just took that hit on Roblox, so we did give some back there, obviously, and we are still holding out hope here that we've got something. And what just happened to Apple? Okay, there it is. That's what came out. I was wondering. I was like, what just came out? It was Roblox and Apple almost at the exact same time. So that's it, man. We'll finish off the Apple 186 long. I wanted to get it at 189. We'll take $3, 188.85. It's Apple.
190 still in place.
I was just worried about 189. I don't know.
Because we were saying 190 this morning. It's an even round number. You can look at the daily chart and figure it out. And that's the other thing. Like when you have a plan of action,
tomorrow.
Just stick to the plan. 100%. I mean, Apple is going to get traded tomorrow. Amazon's going to get traded. OB will be in here as well. But I'm out at PayPal. I said we trail it. I was going to give it a chance to break out past 62. I just wanted to show you like where the trade comes from. It's one thing to have a double top. The other thing I always consider is what happened the last time we were here. So if you just go back, you don't have to have a very long memory. Just go back to the beginning of the week on the 12th. This stock broke out the exact same price, 61.40, and turned at 62. So it already showed you that move. So when it breaks out here, scalp. You can see like that lower high. Make sure we're scalping someone in front of that, and then get out in front of 62. Now this stance, I gave it a chance to break out the 62 level, just in case. I could have maybe gotten 5 or 6 cents better by just sitting here or sitting there, but I gave it a chance to go. Now it's starting to pull back. I almost want to look for a dip buy. Obviously 61.40 makes sense, maybe the 50s, but now it's starting to really reverse. We have the short here in Affirm because I actually couldn't find anything else that I really liked. I suppose PayPal would have been a good short. Hindsight's going to be 20/20 in a situation like that. What can you do? But I might give this a chance on NEO. So I can't remember the last time I saw something that resembled this, with a big volume spike, just one big candle up. My first thought was dip buy into the first consolidation level, which is 15. My second thought is why not just buy something in the consolidation here, or just take a break of 20 with a 2-cent stop, and if it gets to VWAP, that's 10 cents. The downside is it's the Chinese ADR in the afternoon. The upside is in 7 minutes, Frank's gonna come and pump the market, so you like the longs. And of course, I'm joking about that. But that's a big volume spike on NEO, no question about it. I'm going to give a chance for the dip at 15s. If I can't get that, I probably just punch 20s and then throw a stop underneath 18 and see if it can get to VWAP. Can't remember the last time I saw something like that. So I want to take some kind of a shot at it around here. UCAN Homes. Any thought on the AMC chart? Or is it AMC at the high of the day, baby?
Dara was like, she can't wait to go see the Taylor Swift movie there and everything. It was like
we should probably slow our roll.
So excited with that.
Of course. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong. No shame in that at all. No shame in that.
Well, she just told me she's seen it 3 or 4 times. I think it's a lot after that.
3 or 4 times?
You know?
That's it?
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, look.
As she takes a drink now, she's like, "Oh, forget."
No, I mean Taylor needs
Pound back the
all.
bottle.
She needs all the support she can get right now. Clearly, she's not successful enough.
No.
We know she's going to be upset on Sunday. Obviously,
And she's not
Sunday
going to marry
evening.
Travis Kelce.
Well, not after the goose egg he puts up on Sunday. She's not.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think it matters there that much.
Go Bills.
All
But
right.
AMC, just not to pump the brakes, but this is like the first actual decent green day it's had in about a month and a half. Maybe it's made a bottom at $4. I mean, when people gamble at levels like these, the way to try to structure picking a bottom on a stock like this is if you take shots, it bounced off 4 and it closed at 411. Like if you like 410 and then okay, well maybe it's going to hold 4 again. You just try that kind of a long. Not that I ever would, but I actually am looking for a short to pop usually in a stock like this. So I'm not joining this. It's much easier to say, hey, let's join the trend up in PayPal than it is buying highs in AMC when the market is showing you all kinds of strength. So good day for AMC today. Not gonna, crap on it or the move it's had. I think maybe if you have a temporary bottom at 4, you could get into this 540 level in here. I do want to keep some eyes on Spirit Airlines here because like now all of a sudden, I just got Micron. Yeah, the market's strong. All of a sudden, we covered our long and are back in a couple of shorts. We'll see how that works out. No, but Spirit just caught a bid off $5. And when I say off $5, for 20 minutes now, it's held exactly $5, which if you just saw an AMC, that allows you to stop out with slippage under an even dollar. And if it's really squeezing here, it's SSR too. This is over 10% down. It's short sell restricted. So I'm thinking I want to get like a 505, 510 long and just stop out underneath 499. But we'll also have to address the fact the market is trying to bust these highs, and I just got another chip name to the short side, which is Micron in front of 85. I had this earlier during the midday. I had a reload there at 84.5. So creatively enough, it just made a wick high at 84.83. So I short 84.78, 5 cents in front of that local high. Not very creative actually at all.
All right, I was just watching. I feel a little bit bad because we did not reload. First of all, we got some more out of Alibaba, which was great, but we did not reload AMD, and I really don't know why. So I just put another offer right there now. I was like watching. I'm like, why am I not just taking this? It went to 88. So I'm going to sit there again. We are now, wow, okay, here we go. Hopefully this will fall down. Silly me for getting out of Tesla. But there it goes right down to the downside. Let's check out the other stock that we got stopped out on. Roblox, that's good. Shake. I'm hearing some Shake. What is Shake Shack? Shack. What's Shake Shack? There it is. We're getting our first Shake Shack here, by the way.
What location? Where is it?
Downtown, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, just
like
hearing.
The core?
Yeah, like by Union probably. I don't know where. I shouldn't say where. There's a Chick-fil-A finally in Canada, or in downtown Toronto. I don't know. There's probably another one somewhere in Canada.
There'll be more.
Like Windsor or something. Wow, AMD right now is really tanking, but I just want to say apparently they're increasing prices, so that's that. Okay, so here we go, man. It's AMD, and look, man, we're all the way down here again. We said we would not make this mistake if this does happen, but I did make the mistake again. But there it is right now. Let's go spin the money. That's 60 cents in the money right now for that. As it continues to go down, hopefully a little bit lower than where we are right now. The out for Alibaba was pretty good there. Like I said, boom, boom, boom. I do only have 10% left. Like, again, Neil and I are very like sort of robot traders sometimes, meaning that like once things hit our levels, we're able to get out. We do use stop orders. We talked about that. We try to have expectations of ins and outs and where we get in and where we get out. And I'll show you a good example here. This is this trade that I was really, it didn't burn me. It was a great trade. I mean, it's like we say, any day above, ground is a good day. Any winning trade is a good trade. I don't care if you take 1 penny or 2 pennies. You took money out of the market, which is ruthless. I mean, this is not a fair place to play. All right. But anyways, so here's Amazon. We took it off that bottom. First out was like 30 cents or whatever, just whatever. We always take something out. And then we took out half there. We didn't have a very huge piece. And then the next part, it broke through VWAP and then was kind of trading in between VWAP and the 200. So I took it out. And then we started to go back up to the upside. What, this? No,
look at the break back down under. That candle has to be right at 1 o'clock, no?
Yeah.
Where is that?
Yeah, 12.
Oh, it's 12? So nothing
Yeah,
happened
1
there.
o'clock is... Yeah, not till here. But anyways, it's just like, you know, could have held that to the day's high, but because, and these lines have changed. That was the 200 period. You trust me on it. So it went up to the 200 and we got out. It was very, very similar stuff that I continue to do all of the time. I think it was Intel this morning was probably something as well there as well. Okay, that's a good one.
Do it.
That was a good one there, Fabian. He said, it's time to be frank with Frank.
Or get frank.
So actually, we need to talk to Frank about this because I like Frank's Red Hot. You know, it's a little vinegary there.
Okay, but
No, not as a hot sauce.
Okay,
I'm not saying
okay.
like this is the greatest hot sauce.
Okay. Not a hot sauce.
But
it's okay.
I think if you've got some nice, you know, baked, like wings that are baked and they're naked, like getting some of that on there.
If I need some lubrication on the wings,
that's what I'm saying.
I don't have something better.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So anyways,
it's not a hot sauce.
Thanks, Frank, for bringing that to our life. That's Frank's hot sauce. So I want to thank him for that.
Let's get some wings.
Well. Let's get some wings, yeah.
Are you a spice or no spice kind of guy?
I'm full go on the spice.
Full go,
and I'll even
okay.
throw. We actually have pizza today in the office, and I'll throw a little of the hot sauce on the cheese pizza.
On the deep dish? Even on the deep dish?
Oh.
I love it. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, let's jump into what's going on here today because there's a few things to understand, I think, and we kind of hinted at it coming on at 2 o'clock here this afternoon that it seems like some of this conversation has been pushed down the road a little bit once again as far as these rate cuts are concerned. You know, it wasn't too long ago that we were discussing 80+%. I think it got as high as 86% in favor of a quarter point cut. As soon as March, that's back to a coin flip at this point, Frank.
Yeah, it's absolute craziness in the interest rate, Forex, all of these markets that are tangential to stocks, but obviously pushing and pulling on stocks as well. And yeah, first of all, starting with this dollar bid that we've seen to start the year, up 5% against the Japanese yen, up 4 to 5% against Aussie dollar, up a little bit against your Canadian dollar or pound and euro, but quite a resurgence and just a real shift in overall market rhetoric and thinking over the course of the last couple of weeks, the first couple of weeks of this year. And it's no coincidence that this dollar is rising, Brendan, with these rate cuts that are coming out of the market. And you and I are so close to this stuff, so we know, you know, how quickly markets can price in and price out cuts, and everybody out there who has traded derivatives, products, futures, and options know that it's great to quote a delta on an out of the money call or put option, but that delta is absolutely going to change, and it's going to at some point get to 0 or 100 when expiration comes, and we're seeing some of that volatility in these priced in rate cuts that looked like closer to 100 delta on them happening in March, Brendan, and now are slipping away pretty quickly. And just a good example of, you know, when you see an 80% or 85% likelihood, and that's how high we got of a cut coming in March at the end of last year. Yes, that means that the majority is thinking that it's going to happen, and the majority is still thinking it's going to happen, but now it's 55.2% as of this morning of a rate cut in March. That can absolutely change. You cannot ever count those chickens before they hatch, so to speak, and we're still, the funny thing is, we're 2 weeks out from the January meeting, and so, of course, this is going to go back and forth a couple more times, but you're seeing the synergy between these interest rate activities that are getting priced in and out. No coincidence that the dollar is running up in the same time frame, and stocks and crypto and all these different markets are seeing, to varying degrees, some unease.
Yeah, and if you go towards the yields here, we'll talk about the longer term yield specifically. I mean, it's 3, 4, 5 days in a row here, straight back to the upside. We're back to 4.4. You know, 4.4 and change almost on the 30 years. So, and I feel like we just kind of flip-flop and go back and forth on this every time we talk at this point, but that's just the landscape in the market that we're in right now that is so uncertain and so, you know, they're directionless, for lack of a better word. and waiting for something to say, okay, you know, the coast is clear, let's go in this direction. But the 10-year higher again today, the 30-year higher, as you said, the dollar being dragged along too.
Yeah, and the coast is absolutely not clear. The volatility of the last 2 months tells you exactly that. And yeah, it might feel like what these guys were talking about cuts. They were talking about rates dropping a month ago. Look at the slide that you saw in 30-year yields. To your point, Brendan, you know, from October to December, they went from pricing in 1 or 2 or 3 rate cuts in 2024 to pricing in 6. The 30-year yield went from above 5%, closed the year below 4%. That's 100 basis points worth of downside. And so huge move to the downside, and now has bounced back 30 basis points. And what this tells you, of course, we've seen interest rate environments. We're still in an inverted yield curve. We've seen plenty of interest rate environments recently where the Fed can go in a certain direction or go further in a certain direction than long-term yields. But what this tells you with the 30-year back to, I mean, I was looking at it right before I jumped on with you. They look like they're about to print 4.4%. They were under 4% at the end of 2023. So now closing in on a 40 basis point rise here year to date. As to your point, it's been multiple days in a row of these long-term yields climbing. Now, what this means is that the market is now projecting that, yes, they could cut as soon as March or in May or whenever they're going to cut. But we're not buying into this, 200 basis points of cuts. You and I jumped on and looked at these same projections here that we have in front of us. And we saw some projections at the end of last year, Brendan, that were saying, there's a 10% or 15 or 20% chance of 3.5% interest rates by the end of 2024. And now those cuts are quickly getting priced out, yields on the rise. NASDAQ has been able to kind of duck some of these big moves. You see today bouncing back significantly, obviously a lot of that. Apple, I'm sure you guys are all covering those stories. It doesn't have to mean downside for the stock market. We've talked about this in the past, what's causing this resurgence in yields and this pricing out of interest rate cuts it's U.S. economic strength. And so it's not all bad news. It might be bad news if you were hoping to lock in a lower rate for a mortgage or a car loan at some point here in 2024, but it's not all bad news for the stock market, as it is coming from a place of strength, which is hard to come by when you start to get into other continents here in our global economy. And so a lot of nuance. And with all of that being said, Brennan, you know this just as well as anyone. I could jump on here with you next week or the week after, especially that week after that has the U.S. Fed meeting 2 weeks from yesterday. And the odds could be back at 85% of a cut in March. This stuff changes so constantly, and it's why we're getting such big moves in the stock market and everything else.
No, it's a great point. And before we get into what to expect from the Fed, let's talk a little bit about what, as you led to there a little bit, what's coming next week, because there's a few that could have a little bit of an indication as to what we can expect from the Fed in Canada and Europe as well coming up next week. So how much weight do we put towards these first? And is there one or maybe two that you're looking at specifically?
Well, right off the bat, it might sound crazy just given the relative difference in size of economy, but I'm really keen to see what comes out of the Bank of Canada. Unlikely to make any change to rates, but the Bank of Canada and the Canadian dollar has been really aligned with the U.S. in recent months, especially given this back and forth that we've seen, the dollar crash at the end of the year and the dollar resurgence. The Canadian dollar has held in pretty well against USD and has been one of the more correlated pieces to USD over the course of the last several months. And so I'm really going to watch that one in terms of what I could glean for the Fed meeting coming a week later. Now, the Bank of Japan is going to be really interesting for a totally different reason. They're in a very different place. But you've probably heard or read about the stories. The Chinese economy very, very vulnerable right now. And the Japanese yen has been one of the weakest currencies of late, coming off of that weakness in the Chinese economy and what that means for Japan, Australia, and neighboring territories whose economies are dependent on that Chinese growth. And so I'm really interested to see what the Bank of Japan has to say. And when I say they're in a very different place, they're negative in interest rates. The US is at 5.5%. And so what they have to say is not going to necessarily guide the Fed. But they were at the end of 2023 getting as hawkish as they've been in years, potentially more than a decade, because they've been negative for so long and they haven't hiked rates for more than a decade at this point. And they were talking about coming out of negative territory, or there were at least rumors of that. And so it'll be really interesting to see if they come out and they're more dovish, more worried about geopolitical risk and the Chinese economy and what that means for the Japanese economy and GDP and everything else. Man, that yen could move back to its lows that we saw last year, which were 30-year lows. A crazy, crazy price action in that yen piece. Now, if they come out and they go against that, because a lot of that fear has been priced in, the yen's been absolutely annihilated the last couple of weeks. They come out a little hawkish, that dollar might come off significantly. So that one, interesting for a different case. And then obviously the ECB, essentially the second most prominent central bank in the world.
Yeah, and we have to, I think, kind of keep an eye out across the board now for some geopolitical type talk and, more indications of what if later in the year, as far as some of those tensions are concerned, from the ECB, from the Bank of Canada. I mean, our economy is obviously tied very closely to each other, Canada and the US, and we saw, some inflation-related data from our side of the border going back to earlier in this week that was not good. So we'll see. Again, Wednesday at 10 o'clock, I guess, is the Bank of Canada. Not going to hike, but it'll be more about those comments once again. When we look out then to what's to come from the Fed going out a week and a half, is there something at this point, that would prevent him from coming out to that podium and just saying, what? I said higher for longer. What's the problem?
Yeah, it's one of those tough things because the market's obviously pricing in that he's not going to say that. The market's pricing in still, even with all of this price action I'm talking about, rates jumping 40 basis points in the 30-year and the 10 years up, 20, 30 basis points in its own right, and they're pricing out some of these rate cuts. It's still a 50-50 proposition that they cut in the meeting after this one that you and I are talking about. And so the market's still expecting that he is not going to say anything of the sort, higher for longer, and we're maybe not going to cut at all this year. Holy smokes, that would cause a lot of crazy action. That being said, Brendan, he could absolutely talk down some of these rate cuts and not necessarily say higher for longer, but say something to the tune of, we're monitoring inflation and we're going to continue to monitor inflation and continue along this path. And our dot plot said 2 to 3 cuts this year. And, maybe we'll get to those 2 to 3 cuts. And then you could see a continuation of the recent move that you've seen across asset classes. That's absolutely on the table. And then, of course, there are plenty, as every trader knows, there are plenty of black swans out there that could shift his rhetoric in the next 2 weeks that have nothing to do with the U.S. economic data. You allude to the European geopolitical risk, not even to mention the fact that, the Chinese economy is essentially crashing before our eyes. So many different things that could be completely unforeseen outside of the borders of the U.S. or North America that could come across the desk of Jerome Powell before that meeting. But unlikely across the board, central banks unlikely to do anything. But right now, some of the most important meetings in the next 2 weeks, because everyone will be dissecting what they're saying and where they're headed in the springtime over the course of the next couple of months. And I mean, you guys are so on top of everything in the stock market. Stocks are moving based off of what's going to happen 6 months, 9 months, 12 months down the line. And so I'll expect to see similar price action over the course of the next 2 weeks with these central bankers, what's going to come months down the line for them.
Yeah, there was indication, and you and I even discussed it, that maybe it was a little too much too fast going into the end of the year, and the hopes were getting a little ahead of themselves. So maybe we're seeing that level out a little bit. Real quick, PCE and GDP next week. GDP is a prelim number, but we get a look at still, how the overall economy in the U.S. is doing. PCE, as we all know, is very closely watched. So of those two, is there one that we can, kind of hang our hat on?
I think it's got to be the inflation number right now. And of course, as I say that, it'll definitely be it's always the number that we're not expecting comes in and is the important one. But in my mind, it's got to be the inflation one. We just saw inflation numbers in the US and in Canada over expectations. It's the thing that the Fed harps on. It is in their mission statement is not to regulate GDP, it's to regulate inflation. And if they get a stronger than expected number there on top of the CPI that we got last week, it's going to make for a real even market going into that January meeting of when cuts are coming in March or in May. It's already almost at that 50-50, Brendan. If that number comes in even a tenth or 0.2 of a percentage point, I think you might see yields jump a little bit further. And I mean, it's hard to say what it means for stocks. They've been showing both sides of the market, which is, hey, great for traders out there.
Yeah, a few days ahead of that meeting as well on Friday morning next week for PCE for December. Frank Caberna is Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you so much, Frank. Two things. One, I never would have guessed that that Frank, and this is my bad, I would have never guessed Frank was a spice guy. But if you are, Frank, that just means when I come to Chicago, we'll see, because I like spicy food for real. I'm just saying. So
you're saying Frank's not for real?
I look, man. I've heard. I'm not calling him out. It's just I know some people that be like, I like hot food, and then they get some real hot food, and they're like, oh, like
same way.
That kind of stuff. But the Frank candle on the futures, maybe there's something to 245 because it cannot be this simple. Of course, I sit here in two shorts, but another pump to the high of the day there, right at 245, just as usual. But look, it's been absolutely fantastic. The top end of this range, if you've been trading it, just wish I had something I was long going into these tops. You're getting some good scalp trades to be sure. But I did get that Neo trade. I said I would give this one a shot. It's not really doing anything, but it held the higher low and then broke out that top. So my thesis was you don't get volume candles like that out of nowhere. If it holds a higher low, I'm just going to take the break. The initial push down was to 18, so I'm going to stop it at 18. But I don't know, like it's really going sideways now. Like Alibaba's moving, but actually back into the downside. So it was weird what happened in NIO. I've never seen, okay, not never. Well, I can't think of a time that I've seen something like this that wasn't news-based. It could have, I'd say it was a dark pool if not for the fact the stock actually moved. But the shorts off the tops, that's what it's all about. Tony Price, we are not doing the one-chip challenge again. No, absolutely not. I also strongly suggest that nobody.
Someone should send us some hot pizza, man. Someone should send us some hot stuff.
Look, I will do just about anything when it comes to these challenges.
Remember the wings we had?
The hot wings were great.
I can't remember the guy's name, but he sent us 4 or 5.
They were delicious.
Yeah, 4 or 5 different Schoolville.
One was I think 130,000. I think 130,000 might have been the highest on the Scoville scale, but they were flavorful and delicious. The Packy chip is just scientific warfare. That's all it is. Like it's not food. It's just chemicals meant to hurt you, which people do for points. Like it's not a good experience. Like I like eating spicy food. I should enjoy it when I do it, at least a little bit. There was zero enjoyment whatsoever of the Packy chip. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, Renata just asking if I was short Tesla. Yeah, I was, and then I lost on it. So we were short here. So we won the first time and then lost the second time. So I was talking about this with you guys. And that was this was just as the market, just as we came back, sorry, at 2 o'clock. So short there at 215, took it down here. We only got it at 40%, and then we averaged it and then got stopped out on the way up. So it's going to be an L there, but it's not much of one. I was starting to, again, feel bad.
Oh,
about my trading on AMD because we made money there and it was great. I was like, yeah, like this was good, man. AMD was a top stock. And then I gave it all back, trying to short. Every time this time we were right. And then so I look at this, I'm just comparing it to yesterday. So yesterday was horrible, today is fine. But anyways, we're shorting AMD. The reason why I talk about this is not because of AMD, but it's because of Intel. So we already made money on Intel today. We went long on Intel, was part of the break, out 47.25. It was a great trade. We had this early, then we had that. These are gonna look like L's, but they're actually not. There was just more of this. So this was a good trade. It has fallen back in. So I just went over and shorted basically against 46.75, 46.80. This little bottom area right there was 46.80. So when I'm trying to find out situations on what to do, I kind of go back and say, okay, where would have I liked to have been short before? It's like what Neil just did with Neo there. Like if it comes back in and you're short off that big pop and it comes back to that sort of barcode level, that's where you could maybe think about getting out, or vice versa, getting long there. So this came back into here. So I was just thinking to myself, 46.80. So you can see we're short now 74. It's not like it's moving that much, but that fill down there was 57. So again, about a 5 to 7 cent window there to get hit. So that's where we took the first bid out there, 66s. You see that 66s. So that gives us 1-to-1. We have a couple fills there. Then we got the 200 at 62, 63. Then we got the greatest fill down there at 55, 56. So we'll see if it can continue to go downside. But I choose you, Pikachu, and I choose Intel to short because it's just working a lot better and giving me less heart palpitations than AMD, and we don't need any of those. So. All right.
Always got to look after that heart health, man. It's important.
I did buy Palantir today.
PLTR, baby.
Yeah, right about here, 1630. Again, all the prices were just kind of like anything that happened in here. Oh no, we must have been lower than that. It was all done as we left the midday show and started to do this. So it was probably 1620. It doesn't matter. I'm holding it forever.
We should say this. You ever hear us talk about like our personal accounts? We actually, and this has been since the beginning of the show, we don't execute on our personal accounts when we're live on air. It's just, it's just like, I think it's just a principle thing. It doesn't really matter. Like if I ever do, it would be because I have like a market on open or something. Or like if I have a stink bid out, like I got filled today on Occidental while we're on the show. Yeah. But like I had that stink bid in there for a while. I looked back at 11 o'clock, I was, oh, I got filled today. I know I did because it hit a bottom. There was actual news on Spirit Airlines. So now not going long off the $5 level looks extra stupid because Spirit Airlines is looking at options to refinance its debt, not considering restructuring.
Of course they are.
And apparently, according to the chat, now I don't know if this is true or not, but someone in the chat was mentioning David Portnoy and Wall Street Bets to the rescue. So maybe it's been getting.
Joe.
Maybe it was the Chef Joe. I don't know. Like I'm not on Wall Street Bets, so I can't tell you if that's what's happening or not. But I think
I just took it long.
I'm looking for a long on the dip here. That's the news you're looking for. Man, the $5 level would have been fantastic, but I think you still have. Yesterday's high was about 6.25, so you still have some room to get to there. And then from there, there's not a heck of a lot till you get to $7.
I just tried it right now. This is not all we're gonna try to do is just stack it. Like if we could get 10 cents, like I don't really trade these names with like gun-ho amounts of shares here or anything like that. So we'll watch out for save here. Hopefully it can halt. Well, we don't have enough shares where it really matters if it halts or not. Hopefully it will halt somewhere and then we'll be able to go back up to the upside. But this is gonna be a trade, but not a long trade because if we break below this 560 area, I think we want to get out. And it looks like we're trying to trend back in right now. We could average into this trade. It's just this is not something that's generally something that I will do. So we'll have to watch out for this save Spirit. We're long at 50.80. So I actually have offers at 89 to get out of 20%, and then I have a 99 to get out of 10%. And then if it can go through $6, then I think maybe at that point we can try to hold some of it. But that's the high of the day right there. Or sorry, it might not be the high of the day. Yeah, it is. Okay, so there it is breaking through. That high is $6 basically, 590, 594. So yeah, as you can see, I didn't even zoom out to look at it. Let's just see where we can go on this name right now. That is save, and then Alibaba's making a move back upside a little bit. So look, in that dip down, we bought it. like, look where we're getting out again. We're trying to, like I said, we're trying to be a little bit of a program trader here and just get out at the levels that are marked, right? And this is the 200 period and the 50 period. So again, a nice dip buy opportunity into 0405 there. Nice trade to the upside. So as that's starting to work, we do have, of course, Intel. That's not going to work. So we're still going to wait for this trade to come back up and break through 80. If it breaks through 80, then we're gone on Intel. So that's kind of my play there. We'll see what happens now. And we're just watching out for Spirit. That's my newest trade. So we can watch that together and see where it goes. But Intel will take a little bit of a reload in and around 78. Sorry, I'm still on save. In and around 78 because we're already short right here. So I'm not going to add to the same price. I want to make sure the stop makes some sense. What just happened to save there? I thought I was almost getting filled.
Matthias.
I went to 88.
For Matthias Griffo, Sean's charts are 1 minute. The daily chart, and then I think you use a 20.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, so Sean uses a 1 minute, a daily chart, and a 20. I use a 3 minute, a 15 minute, and a daily. So it's just, if you see my chart like that, I don't use a minute chart, I use a 3 minute chart. When we started, I did use a minute chart. But yeah, for me, it's 3. For Sean, it's a 1. 15, just whatever your preference is. 15 and 20 isn't a huge difference. And then daily charts, I think we all have. If I show you a weekly chart, it's because I'm using trade ideas. But I just got to firm the last of the shorts, for me anyways, for now. I don't think we give it up completely. It's only 310, lots of time. But off that quarters, we've shorted only twice here. I was a little more active with the Micron before that one broke that range high, but it's a similar principle. Like Micron was giving you like this level to work off of. Once it breaks out, just get out. Maybe could have had a shot there at the evens. Neo is actually kind of starting to go. So whatever is happening in Neo is just starting to continue. And there's nothing, like the only reason I am even trading Neo is because of this silly spike. Like it did this. It's like, well, if it does half that again, like maybe there's a move into VWAP. So I've never really seen anything like that before. Wish I could tell you it was long at 610. That would be nice. Matt Carnes says, what about Rivian? Is it at VWAP?
It's starting to do something, I saw.
Yeah, you know what? I remember I was explaining the plan of action as to why I got out at the bottom on Rivian. And you know what I was doing all week long? If I was covering one EV name because it got to a target, I was immediately looking for an entry and out. So that's 1045 that I got out. Flips over to Fisker at 1045. What should I have been doing? Like if the moment that I got out of Rivian, to a T, to the minute, Fisker made a double bottom, held it for 20 minutes, and then flat bottom broke at 85 cents. If I had just gotten out, flipped to the other one, I could have been short 84. Obviously, I'd be out of it now, as this is, for whatever reason, screaming up into VWAP. Like, why is this getting up here? Probably an SSR bounce. But you got to be able to look at every single stock on your list. It's criminal. Like, Fisker was free money today shorting it. I mean, it's been easy every day. Like, it's only going down. Lucid is only going down. You should only look for, like, what direction should you look for tomorrow on Lucid, Fisker, or any one of these names? You tell me, because it's all red candles on these charts. Until it shows you something different, just go with the trend, because it's your friend. No need to spam the chat there, Eric.
We just went along some 68s down there on Spirit, gave us an average price of 74. So I just took some out right there. I'm still in 90% of it. I don't feel comfortable sometimes trading these names, but it is moving around. So I'm just trying to tape read a little bit. That's why I said like I'm trying to watch out to see if like these shares are actually getting hit. They're layering the offer, but they're getting taken out. So,
remember, it's SSR.
Oh, right, it's SSR. Okay, so yeah, SSR right there, E, so from the other day. All right, so that's, okay, it's gonna matter a little bit. I was just waiting to see if we got some love back up. See, like we can't even break that, you know? So I don't know, the momentum might be done now in save. Like it should have just gone up there. We baselined at 60 basically, and then did not go back up. So we got out of a little bit there, and we'll see where this goes. I think it sucks for me because like I don't normally trade it, but then a stock like Alibaba that we really do trade, and again, we're using different shares. The stock that we do trade, this is starting to rip to the high side, which is fantastic, and I just hate giving some back on this. But we'll watch out for save, and we'll look at that together. All right, there's Alibaba. Intel, we're still waiting for a better price on that one. That doesn't look like that's going to happen. And then Affirm. Ah, man, Affirm, like, you know, I'm still waiting for it to come back to the downside. I do want to short more at around 40.50, so maybe we'll do that. That VWAP does coincide with these tops right there, so that's 40.65. I feel like we could sit here at 40.50, but that's still a minute away, so we got to wait to see about that, Phil. So that's going to be Affirm. If there's anything else, you guys. It's funny because Oxy just showed up on my scanner, but it's nice. It's at day's high, so that's gonna be good for you.
I get to 65, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, a stock that we shorted, it's TSL to the A, is starting to go back now. It just almost touched 12 again. I should have been short there. What, am I not waiting for that? No, I'm not. Okay, so I feel like that's a short right there against VWAP. Plus, we know how much we like 212. So yeah, it's probably a missed opportunity. They're not shorting Tesla at those levels.
Oh, it looks like Bitcoin did not approach 40,000. We're actually back.
It approached.
Well, we're back at 41. That's all. I don't see the. We had a poll up. Oh, it's because this thing is up. Yeah.
I said hodl.
Well, I had hodl. We had a poll up there. I don't know where it is. Bears versus Bulls can find it because we have the thing pinned there now. But look. Obviously, you're getting a nice hole, but it's been a big downward move. My thought was if you bounce off 40,000, look for maybe a HUD 8 bounce play because it's down 25%, but we're not going to get a chance at that. I'm going to try to get back into PayPal. I thought this dip was going to get a little bit lower. You break out the top. So previous breakout high, I'm looking to dip into it. Right now, I'm sitting at 60 in front of 62, which I probably don't get. I'll look at like the 62.10s here. I just think you have a little bit more room to try and press this a little bit higher, and it's a good trend trade to the upside. But any shorts, they're under pressure right now. That's going to mean Affirm for me. That comes out at the quarter mark. So we reloaded it, haven't been able to get anything out. First short good, second short is going to be a bit of a fail. Thankfully, out of Micron, that's actually stair-stepping into the upside as well. So yeah, the short worked, but really, like every single spot, save here, like that's would have been better off as a long. These would have been better off as longs. NEO continues its very slow crawl up toward VWAP. So I got the 21, just got some 25s and 26s. It's got an offer at 28. I'll throw one at 30 as well because that's VWAP. So if it goes 20 to 30, I mean, it went 610 to 620 in one candle. If it can get to 30, fair enough. Bizarre, weird, whatever. It's just a thing that happened here on NIO. I really wish for some reason, like if there was something that you could have seen on the tape, I wasn't looking at it, but that's one of those moments where there might have, who knows, there might have been some kind of a visual cue on the level 2 that could have, if you're watching it, that could have triggered you to just punch long at like 12 or 13 on NIO. But if you're not watching that stock, you're not getting, either you have a stop for whatever reason, you could have a stop order to go long. But if you're not watching that stock, you're never really going to get that move. You can just try to play the continuation after that. So Firm, we'll see what happens. But what else we got going? You guys tell me what you're looking at here, because the only thing I'm thinking about is dip by PayPal. Don't really see anything on Google. Affirm's is gonna stop me out in about 2 cents or so. As I said, that was not that exciting of a trade the second time through. And Rivian, I would like to take a shot short at VWAP, but it looks like you're not going to get a chance at VWAP.
All right. Wow. I was just talking with Adara a little bit here. I was thinking of a bull case for Boeing because, and I see someone in the chat, so shout out to everybody in the chat there. Obviously missing something because Boeing is going today, right? And it's going pretty nicely. So we'll have to watch out to see what's going on right now with Boeing. But again, you know, it's a pretty solid move back up. But we are, just because you guys want us to look at the charts, we'll do that. And yeah, the idea here behind this chart, lovely chart, is the fact that Boeing is right now back to this level. So we did break above 213, or maybe we didn't break above 213. Unfortunately, I have this stupid wick right here that I'm going to try to clean up. But that 213 looks for now like a decent short right there. We do have a podcast. Make sure you check that out. I do want to talk about Boeing on the podcast. So, you know, we can definitely do that, and hopefully we will. So, yeah, definitely check that out tonight. Or no, probably filming it tonight. Saturday morning. Yeah. My bad. Is when that will come through there. So do that. Yeah, Boeing is going, man. That's Boeing is going. That's
Boeing.
Nice. Did I say that? Okay, thanks, Mike Parada.
Boeing
okay, I did not
Boeing.
mean to say that as a...
Yeah, you did.
But, no, I thought he said it. That's why I was like, Boeing is going.
No, you said it.
Oh, I said it.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
It.
But anyways, it is starting to go. So we talked about, again, there are just Some of it doesn't even require news or anything like that. Like you hit key levels like $200. So I'm going to try to find out. Maybe Brendo, he's not even there. We can find out about Boeing today. I can just look it up probably on our Benzinga there. But 199, nice move back up. The only thing is, you know, you're at the 200 period moving average right now.
They got
so that's something there, and then
old news. They got a couple of orders, but that was yesterday.
Okay, yeah, a couple of orders would do it for sure. But there it is, right there, 231, 232. I feel like if you are in a Boeing swing or you're on options or anything like that, I would just say watch out for that. That's kind of where we did that dance before falling out. So we do have that big gap down on the door warnings. I don't know how to properly say that, but as the doors were getting unhinged.
Is not a good
so that's all the way down from 230. So I would just say watch out for that play there. I did just put an order on Tesla near basically at 212. So if 212 can come into play, I like it. I like it a lot. Apple short printing. Okay, well we're out of Apple period. So
the overnight story on Boeing was Akasa Air announced a follow order of 150. 737 Maxes. I guess that's an Indian carrier. So 150 is a lot. That's probably good news there. But
sure.
Yeah, they got an order. They made a bottom, a temporary bottom, I think. So it looks pretty good. You know what is at the high of the day and just itching to break it is Uber. So the other name that you guys mentioned in the chat was like, hey, tell us what you're trading, because you know at these highs, like what do? Like you either try to find a short entry as the market just does nothing at the high, or you're holding a long, looking for a dip buy in a strong stock. If nothing happens, you shouldn't force the action. Stock's got to move to make something happen. But this is a double top today and going back to Tuesday. That's Tuesday, right? I think so. Last I checked. So if we get a breakout on Uber, the only issue is like 64.90 is this top, which means usually you want like the evens to break. So I don't like punching long at like 85 or 90 into 65, let alone doing it with 40 minutes to go. So maybe the 65 level. And you know what? If we don't break this today, then Uber 65 tomorrow is going on the iPad. What should I take off? Let's get rid of TSM. I don't even know why it's on there. Yeah, I'm just going to put Uber and then 65 for tomorrow, because Uber's been a super strong stock. Yeah, I mean, it's a double top on the daily chart. Today was so ridiculously strong. There's plenty of breakouts that have been working recently, so I don't think you shy away from breakout trades in this moment. Like, look at how strong the stock is. Like, what an opportunity to get the dip buy. Like, for a few days at the beginning of the year, this looked like, oh no, we're headed back to the mid 50s and right back up, and now you're taking out fresh highs on Uber. You know, why wouldn't this stock be worthy of a breakout trade? You don't have to, it doesn't have to win, but those are the types of trades you want at big key levels like that on Uber. So Firms hasn't actually stopped out yet, but I felt like it was going to be close to it there. Comp SRX, I like that line. Double the pride, double the fall. Well, I can turn everything into a trading analogy. That's a line from Star Wars. Count Dooku said that in episode 3. But the other thing you got to consider about the bigger the breakout level and the more exciting it looks, then if it fails, the nastier it would be. Like imagine if that 500 break on NVDA had actually failed. Like that would have been one of those, it will be back in a hurry. So usually it wants to work right away. If it doesn't work right away, get the heck out of Dodge. The reversals can be nasty on levels like that. But it also means it's worth taking a shot at it.
All right, so thanks to Dara, she found this story for us. I think this is what it was. So they've inspected the first 40
That's good news.
of the planes. So that was this morning. This is from Reuters. So here we go. Here's the plane right here. But anyways, they're inspecting them, and they have 171 grounded planes. So the FAA has said last week that 40 have been re-inspected and they're complete. So I guess no issues with them, and so that's that. And there it is. So that's a 737. Thanks to Dara for that, and that makes sense on that story. So, and Intel, there's 80, broke 80s. We got filled at 81, which is a pretty good fill. That's right here, right now. So unfortunately, that was our last trade. It was 76s. So we had it right there, 75. Then we got short 78. 77s. So average price 76.5, something like that. But out. Anyways, that's a fail. We lost on that one. We've already told you. Did I win at slots again? Oh yeah, 400 points. Wow, I think I've lost way more than that. All right, let's find something else. Why is Nike moving around a little bit here? All right, wow, okay.
It was a good retail sales number the other day.
Yeah, it seems like it right
So
now.
maybe that.
There it is. Look at Nike. I mean, it's just starting to go right now as well. So it's
Every
nice.
time you mention the spin, I just literally like type it in and lose.
That's tough. Those spins are tough. There goes Bitcoin, by the way, 40,008 right now. So we are, those of you like that maybe said hodl there, you might lose on that one. So we will wait to see what does happen here with BTC. And I mean, you could just go to any one right now. Let's go to hodl actually, and just look. This is the Van Eck ETF. So let's just see how it's reacting right now to this move down. As okay, no volume. We will pass on that. The one that I wanted to do, and I have it up on
IBIT.
Yeah, exactly. This is the one that I have over there.
15 mil.
Yeah, it's IB. We did this yesterday on the recap show. It's IBIT leads the way, and then the other one is GBTC. So yeah, 23 million for this, and then 17 for IBIT.
Well, then the thing was, this was pointed out by the viewers, which is true, is that GBTC pushed on volume probably because you get a bunch of like redemptions. So
that is what it was, yeah.
Right. So like it's expected that. And the IBIT is tracking better as well, slightly better. But it's probably expected that GBTC will get passed by IBIT at some point in volume. But until then, I'm actually looking at HUD 8 still.
Oh yeah.
Because as we're getting lower, oh, there goes the firm, and firm finally came out. I knew it was going to come out eventually, but firm just came out. So quickly, I'll show you that. But if we bounce off 40,000, my first thought is HUD 8, because HUD 8's getting destroyed on that short sell report. That's me getting out of a firm. 40 and a quarter broke. But if HUT goes, we should call up on the NASDAQ here and not the Toronto market. So if we get down to 40,000, 25% downside or so on HUT 8 on the short seller report, it is obviously going to be SSR. That could set up any bounce off 40,000, might just give like a really tight stop long for a quick little scalp trade on HUT 8. So I'm going to have that stock up just for that reason alone. Like I'm going to be watching Bitcoin. And the only reason I want to do the trade in HUD 8 is because like VWAP's like 10% away. Like a small move is a good move the way this has been trading to the downside. And I haven't been looking at the liquidity to trade one of those ETFs. It looks pretty good, but I just feel if you have something with a big short float that's down in SSR, if there's a bounce, you might get a better bounce than one of those. So nothing too complicated there. IBIT, you could probably, you could easily trade this. 1 cent spreads now, good volume. On the first day, you actually had bigger spreads, but now 1 penny spreads, you're good to go.
All right. Yeah, I was just looking at that. So just watch this. IBIT is down 0.4 right there, and then watch like GBTC. See, they're down exactly the same. So as Neil said, they're starting to figure out how to properly track these things. So watch out. It's going to look ridiculous on the daily chart, but this was to be expected. Honestly, I don't. And actually, again, we're going to film the podcast. It's on my mind right now. I said last week that basically I felt like, and I closed the stupid chart for Bitcoin, but I thought that we could have some support in and around 37,000, 38,000 on that. So right now you're at 40,008 right now. I mean, I just recently closed it. I can find it in 1 second. Because I was bitching to Neil about our the speed and everything of the computer again.
Use TradingView.
Yeah. I don't think it was Binance though, because not much has really worked out for me here yet. So if we go over to a daily chart here for Bitcoin, I was just thinking, and again, I know that this is going to be hard to see because I can't even see it, but right into here is 37, 38. So I just feel like obviously a lot of this bump up, we knew that this was, well, did we? I mean, we had Kevin O'Leary on here saying that he didn't think it was going to pass. So there were some people that maybe didn't think it was going to, but
most people did.
It's definitely a sell. We say this all the time, man. We said it with Uber. Now Uber's all the way back. It doesn't mean you can't come back. This is just a sell the news event. You know, like they get approved. Literally, this is the next day. 49. What was that? They have 48,960 on Binance was the high. And then now you're down pretty bad from that, right? 50 down to 40. I mean, you know, if this was a stock, we'd be like, you know, so it's nicely back in. It's trying to find footing at 40,000. I feel like if we lose that, and I don't know what these moving averages are, if you lose that, I guess it probably says right here, a 99 period moving average. Okay, I don't know, but bringing it back. Yeah, I'm not using this example. I'm just saying I don't know why it's there. That's what it shows up here.
Never heard of
MA99.
That's what it is then.
So, okay, I was just thinking in here, 37, 38, and then if you buy there and you're really super nervous, then yeah, maybe this loss there of 35 gets you to where you need to be. But anyways, I just think that we are going to lose 40. It seems like that's happening here. So I would say buy at 40 if you like it, but I do think that you got to see what happens here. So anyways, that's Bitcoin, and there it goes, man, 40,800. So we are losing that level, guys.
Yeah, it looks like, I don't know if we actually break the 40,000, but until you get down there and test it, who knows? So I have HUD 8 up, I'm locked and loaded to go. We're almost at VWAP now for NEO, so if it gets to 30, I'm just getting out. It's a Chinese ADR with 30 minutes to go. Expecting it to go any more than this is usually a bit of a pipe dream. The fact that it's even moving right now is a little bit different. Like we're used to Alibaba making movements in the afternoon. Like you actually had some decent moves, but NEO, I can tell you, this is a little bit different for the stock. Usually we're just going sideways, but it stair-stepped it up. Wish I could tell you it was long here. I had one long for 2 cent stop, and then we got in at 21s, and we'll be out at 30. NVIDIA apparently breaking out. Well, good thing I'm not short chip names.
NVIDIA's breaking out. Nah.
Palms, don't do that to me. Because remember in the afternoon, everything was breaking higher yesterday? The market's at the highs. My first thought is, well, if NVIDIA is breaking VWAP, look at 571 on NVIDIA and VWAP right now. If it was to be breaking that level, that's pretty spicy. We still have 30 minutes to go. 20 minutes till the imbalances come out. There's a shot for a last-ditch effort to get to the upside. I can tell you PayPal's now completely gotten away from me. So I got out of PayPal. There was no dip. It's just all green. If there's a lesson to be learned, like stick with the strong stocks. You could have had this dip here at 75s when I was looking a little bit lower. And then you take the first available dip sometimes. The stronger the trend, take the first available dip. And what's crazy about it is I'm more willing to do that in the morning. Like if a stock's going nuts, I'm like, this is super strong. I'm like, first available dip, go for it. In the afternoon, it's a little harder to do that because you don't have as much time for the move to happen. Like did it with ARM this morning. Like if you go long early, like it has all day to go higher. Like NVIDIA off that 500. When you get a dip buy at 512, which is exactly what NVIDIA did that day, you had all day for it to go higher. With PayPal, if you take this dip that far from VWAP, to me, it's like, well, is it really going to go actually went another 70 cents? So I'll slap the fail. I should have got back into that one. But yeah, PayPal's looking really strong, and it's because of their CEO saying all the right stuff. They're doing some cost cutting. They're talking about how much they're going to, I think it was like shock and awe or crazy surprise the market with their next earnings.
Who was?
Oh, it was PayPal CEO. Maybe he was at I think he was at Davos or something. I guess as he was talking. I just read. I didn't listen to it. I just read it in an article.
Everybody wanted to get that CEO out of there, so it's a good thing that they did.
I forget the new guy's name, to be honest with you.
It might be a female.
Isn't it?
I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. Okay, I'm trying to get everything sorted out here. I'm still working on a few things. Okay, I'm just trying to refresh to make sure all my stop orders are good to go. All right, so we just took a new fill. We'll hit the siren.
Whoa! Hey,
hello.
That'll wake you up.
We'll hit a little bit of sirens there. All right, so I reshorted a firm. We told you that we were going to do this. It just came in. I'm going to cancel Tesla here quickly because I want to work with a firm now. All right, so all right, that's a good trade. AFRM. We'll see where it's going. It is starting to head to the downside. We just got that nice little fill there. So we just missed. Okay, there. Okay. Slow, calm down. There. So that was a good fill. I can't even get my orders out in time right now. So we'll see if we can get some more fills here. And this is the thing. You got to see what happens? Did you guys just see that? Like I tried to buy 37s, which we did. We bought 37s and then all the way, literally the same. I don't know. This is why we talked about it yesterday was the scalping lesson. And that is that the best way to trade these names, you see, like now it's back down to 35, is just put a bid at 34 and hopefully you get filled. Like that's what you got to do. Hopefully this will come down and fill you at 34 and run you over. So someone with momentum will say, oh, I want to sell a firm. and then boom, they put the sell order in and they run right into you, because if I try to buy those 37s right now, like I just did, it just went right up to 39. I got the fill because I hit the key first, but that's dangerous. That's dangerous to do that, especially if you have a lot of shares, which I don't see. It just happened. I was just sitting there at 34 and 35, and we just got both of those fills out of nowhere, you know? So you got to wait for them. Let's see if a firm will continue to work. Finally, there we go. We put on a good trade for you. And we did talk about that. I shouldn't say finally. We do have an LFT because of the last, I think it was Roblox. We'll see if we can get this in now, though, back down to the downside. We're having a great day today. It was AMD, wasn't it? It was AMD. AMD is what we went red on. That kind of got me upset there. And then we did give a little bit back on that last Intel push, but that's still didn't do anything. That was actually fine. And then I guess it was Square was one of the ones that we had short there that wound up losing. But this is what we talk about. Trading is hard enough as it is, let alone trying to do stuff and try to figure out and think that you know everything.
Also, talking through the position.
Oh, yeah. But I just mean, like, just get out when you're wrong. Because, like, if I hold this all the way, then I'm screwed up here.
Look happy.
You know, don't make, like, bad trades worse by becoming married to them. And I just feel like that's an advice there that is something that means a lot. If you're wrong on a trade, I think someone in the chat said it, or maybe Adara said it or something, and it was just like, there's always another trade. And it's like,
always
what are we doing? Unless, like I said, unless you're really, really focused on that one individual stock.
Or it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, or it's 4 o'clock. Or it's 3:50, I think is a good time to get out of trades as well. I just think it matters a lot that you focus on a few names and have your ins and have your outs. That's basically.
Well, on that note, we get a lot of questions. What do you guys think about this or that? What we're going to do is we're going to go over, like, we show you what we're trading and our ideas and why we do it. But if I go over a chart for somebody, it's not to tell you what to do. It's just what I'm seeing in the chart. Like, someone just asked in Uber, where did I just see it? It was just, apologies there, Karula?
What's up, Karula?
I have Uber shorts a long time ago. What are our thoughts?
How long ago? Because those are getting murked.
Like, look at the daily chart of Uber. Like, I don't know what a long time ago means. Right. I don't know if you're trading equity. I don't know if you're trading options. A long time ago could mean that you're short. Come to my chart. You could be short off of this double top highs, in which case you're not out of the money much, and maybe you're giving it to like 65 or something. I don't know. You should always have an out before you get into a trade. And I think it's true in all circumstances. I mean, it's doubly true if you're shorting stocks. I don't short stocks in my personal account. I think, like, I've sold covered calls on long positions before, but that's literally it. That's about as bearish as I'll get on something like that. But yeah, I don't know what your position is, but you should have some kind of an out. I'm looking personally at this double top 65 here as a potential breakout long. Like, that's the kind of level that'll be crowded, I think, tomorrow for a lot of traders. So there's a chance that if it fails a breakout like that, there could be a reprieve to the downside. Like, if you just shorted it today up at these highs, and a long time ago meant earlier here, or back in like the last week, that's not the end of the world. Like, you could reasonably have a stop at a couple of percentage points and you're still in the pocket. But if you've been holding this the entire way, you know, it's like whatever, if you didn't have an out before, then just because you didn't set an out before doesn't mean you shouldn't try to now. So you've got to determine an out. I know 65 is way too obvious for some people, so maybe you give it a few extra shekels, but that is a very strong moving stock to be trying to bet against it on Uber. Like, it took the S&P 500 edition sell the news event, basically took it in stride, and it's right back into the highs. That should tell you a little bit of how strong that stock is right now. But that's about it. A couple of things here. I mean, I got into Rivian, finally got to VWAP. So yeah, I know I said the last of the shorts, but Rivian then decided it wanted to get close enough to VWAP and make a turn. So I'm short at 76. Could have been 75 or 7. Didn't really matter. Going to give it to the local high. Probably not to VWAP. We got about 20 minutes left, but just over 10 till we get some of those imbalances. I didn't see the early look. I'm assuming that, like, nobody really posted it. It's 311 million to the buy side, and the only big numbers, there's actually no big numbers individually from BRKR. We can see some early look imbalances on the New York. Like, Nothing. Nothing's over 1 million shares. Ford's under 1 million shares. Not a lot of interest here. I see absolutely nothing interesting on the early look imbalances. So I'm not terribly worried about the imbalances, but we do have to be flat by the end of the day. So these trades will turn into scalp trades really quickly. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get on the bid out in front of that 1565 here because that is the range on Rivian. So just do my bid in. First stop there. NEO's starting to pull back. So I got some out on the way back down. It didn't quite, VWAP would have been right at 630, but when it stalled out at 629, I just took the offer at 27.5. I'll hold on to the last little bit, maybe stop it out underneath 24 and just hold this one into the close. I'm just going to adjust the stop on NIO. This way I'll just hold whatever I have to either 624, break of 624, or maybe to the end of the day. Just give it a bit of a chance there. GCGC saying, did DWAC's worth a watch?
Oh, Washington.
I stopped looking at this.
I don't know. I think it was Washington State. Yeah, they put him on the ballot, or there was something. So I don't.
You could probably.
Again, I heard it in my ear. I don't know.
I mean, the algos will have an edge to that, but there's probably something to just trying to get like quick trades on DWAC or Funware on any news that comes with Trump. Because if that really just hit, like it broke 25 and was a quick 30, 40 cent winner for you.
Quick 30, 40 cent winner. If I ever stop trading a firm, please somebody like just get something aggressive and just hit me over the head with it, because like honestly, this stock has been great. As long as you have your stops, like this, we are very well aware that, you know what, I should say we're very well aware, yet I have no idea. Let me just, I think it's 20, that's all. I wasn't sure what the reason why
I'm going to say it's under 20 now.
Yeah, the reason why I say this, yeah, so 17.5. So the reason why I say that is like, you got to watch out for an upside move at some point because, well, we had it. I mean, it does have moves. You know, we had a move right here, but it ran right into what we're doing. So like, that's kind of what you want to do. There's no chance in hell you're trading DWACs as Tempanada. Nah. All right, Tempranillo, nice little wine.
Well, why trade DWAC when you can trade Funware?
Let me check out what DWAC is. Did you just look at DWAC, by the way?
I did. It made a decent move, but I mean, it immediately slowed down. So I'm looking at Fun to see if it did anything. It actually didn't do anything. So maybe you do want to express those trades in DWAC. But the thing about it is, like once that news hits, if that's indeed what just happened here to get it going, you make that trade on the news and you should be selling it when it gets to first resistance. I don't see why that would punch things through for that stock. But you can try to trade the news like that. But thank you to whatever just turned the market a little bit, because we got into Rivian. Rivian's starting to head into the downside. Like whatever just turned a firm. The market didn't do a heck of a lot. But Rivian started to come to the downside. Running out of time for this HUD 8 kind of notion off 40,000 because Bitcoin is not really getting to 40,000. Holding about 49. So I'm going to get away from that HUD 8 idea. You're running out of time to look for a bounce play. And that was a very gimmicky style trade. Like what I wanted to see was BTC crack 40,000, tag 40,000, bounce, punch long HUD, give it to its local bottom, whatever it happened to be, and then look for a relief rally. There was a short seller report on HUD. That's why it's getting its butt kicked today. But I would think profit taking in HUD's case today would be short covering. So a late move, I tend to favor it making a little bit of a late bounce. I would have liked to see Bitcoin give me a little bit of that as well.
All right, I was just gonna tag Brian Shannon there because of the firm trade off of VWAP right there. So we'll do that and then do it again. And again, look, it's just straight up to VWAP. It hits it. That time was good. I don't know. It was just overall pretty good there for that one. Baba came back, but again, like, just trying to do what I think is right every time. And that is like when we have these moves upside and just said the market turned, we just start to get out. Like you can't just buy dips and then not get out when it rips, you know, like that time I kind of tried to rhyme them. But it's just that's what you got to do. And I'm going to get out anyways on a breakthrough 68. So like we just went 68.06 up to 26 up to, so again, 6 cent hit. I mean, the stop order's in. I'm waiting for it to fill. So maybe we'll take another bid down here, maybe a little bit lower this time. If we break through 68, then that's that. Sometimes you got to play what the market's going to give you. And if Alibaba wants to come to the downside, I'm not I'm like not about to fight that. If it comes through, it comes through, and breaks, it breaks. But that's why we get out. And we do have about 15% left. I can't remember how many shares I had at the beginning, but about 15% left. Look at all these outs. So obviously we don't have much. Was hoping that it would get to VWAP. It didn't, so we did save 25%, 25%. There's the other 10 out at right there, because why not take 15 cents? And then here's the drip back. So we'll wait for it, but as Neil mentioned, I don't know if we ever got that number, did we?
It was 300 million to buy. That's it.
Yeah. So
small number.
So you go against, here it is right here. I'm just going to I won't get rid of the broker yet. But this is the problem, is like all of these are going to populate in 5 minutes. And like if Alibaba has a sell to it, let's find it here. Hold on a second. Let's just find this, right? Because we can do that. A, B, and then we can check Boeing as well, because BABA and Boeing. All right, BAA, look at all these names. Oh my God, B, C, 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 C. You know what? New feature request.
Sort it for volume on
there it is, here it is, BA. Yeah, I could sort by volume, but
No, I'm saying we should be able to do that. I don't think
No, why not just a search feature? I type in the symbol.
Oh, that'd be way better.
Okay, so there it is right here. BABA right now looks like it is a sell. So we do have, and it's small. I'm not worried about the ARCA exchange. I'm only worried about the NYSE. So right now, it was bigger, but it's pairing off. So it's only 28,000. And then there's Boeing as well. So again, Boeing pretty small there on the broker and on the NYSE, but you could see Boeing with a bid. So bid for Boeing, sell for BABA, and of course I'm long Alibaba. So we'll see what happens there, as these will populate in 5 minutes.
Guess what is, whatever. TSM's up 10%. I'm not even going to make you guess. TSM is continuing to break. It did this yesterday into earnings. It actually was not very strong, and then did this interesting double bottom here at 109. So shout out to anyone that is watching this. Wish I could tell you that I was. Why not? I'm not going to take that PayPal dip. I know I said I like 62s. It is now 345. That'd be trying to put it on right before the imbalances. I don't like buying off the highs when the imbalances are about to come out, because profit taking on an expensive stock or stock at the high would mean somebody selling it. So I would have liked that dip buy if it was like 10 minutes earlier, but not right now. If it works great. Let's get to the desk to handle some business, ironically.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
I just looked at Funware and it had done absolutely nothing on that news, and now it broke out. Like, that's so silly and stupid. You could have had a 25 break right into 27 on Funware. It was doing nothing. We looked at it. DWAC had gone. It was like DWAC had gone and already come back. Right, like DWAC makes a move, does absolutely nothing, pulls back in, it's calming down, and then Funware decides to go. All right, let's see if there's a bid at 25. The thing is, it's so late in the day. Forget it. I'm going to wait till the imbalances. Who cares? It's way too late. I'm not going to force the trade. The thing about that trade is you can go long like a 25 and a VWAP break with a stop at the half cent. And if it works right away, your resistance is 1.5 cents above. So you take one shot, 2 to 1, get the 1 penny plus. And then you're like, you can be in and out of that trade really quick. That's why I generally would have liked something like that, but it did absolutely nothing. Bitcoin's going to hold at 41,000. You're right, Darwin. Absolutely right. Steve G, but you identified it as a lagger stock. It's true. At the moment, it was a lagger stock. Oh, and shout out to Steve. Steve G put something in the chat, and he was like, when I was ragging on KC, he said that maybe Travis Kelce is going to have a bad game, because I said he was going to have a dud, because he pulled his hamstring right chasing for a bus. I'm like, what are you talking about? Chasing a bus? Like, why would he do that? I'm like, where'd you get the reference? Steve G remembered a story I told like 2 years ago about how I will never run for a train or a bus unless it's like a life or death situation, because there's always another one, and it's not like some big philosophical thing. In my first year working downtown trading, I was trying to catch the bus at the Bramalea station. It was in the middle of winter. It was a little bit icy, and I pulled in late. I sprinted down the steps underneath the tunnel. I sprinted up the steps just as the doors were about to close. I got to the top step and I completely bailed at full speed on ice. And so I fell down. I'm on my back in pain, and I pulled my hamstring as the doors are closing, and everybody saw what happened. It's like, and you see it go, and I'm like, it was embarrassing. I was hurt. I still had to get downtown that day, so I had to catch the next train in pain.
I mean, as you get older.
I made it in. But like at this age, I'm not running for jack. I'm not
Well,
trying to hold the doors.
No, it's just like you slip and something happens to your hip, and next thing you know, you need hip replacement. It's not that we're that old. It's just that's what happens.
Hip replacement? We're not, Sean, we're not that old, man.
You can get hip replacement at 48. How old are you again?
Yo, first of all, you damn well know we're born in the same.
right.
He knows we're born in the same year. Whatever. We went to high school in the same year. Like, we're not getting any hip replacements anytime soon. Let's be real for a second. Hip replacement.
All right. Let's hope not. That's for sure. Okay, so, all right. Let's just recap what we're doing, just because the market's about to pop one way or the other on this imbalance, guaranteed. I feel like it today. It's going to do something. Look at the NASDAQ. So again, I put the stop here where we're in. So if a firm breaks above 40, we're out. Alibaba, we just took another piece out right here at 17s, just right now. So if that breaks back down below, we're out. So I think it's pretty easy. We are out. I cannot say that again. If this market breaks, we have our outs. 68 break, out. A firm break, out. And let's just see what happens right now as these imbalances are coming out in just a matter of seconds. So we'll hold it like this. We'll watch out for Alibaba. We only have now 5 seconds. In lovely Toronto, Ontario, Canada, if you're watching with us, it's 3:49:58. 59 and 50 right on. So we will get a rebalance update right now. We only have NYSE stocks coming in. Looks like GM with a nice bid. We'll see. This will update with NASDAQ. I don't know why the feed is being late. Doesn't look like GM's doing anything. There it is. There they go. There they all come in. All right. So there's, wow. This is probably a big bid. I don't know if someone's looking at this. All right. Yes. What's up, D. Westermeyer?
GM didn't move.
Hey, Mr. Westermeyer's 48. You see, that's what I meant, not you. All right. So there's a nice move up there. 40. So Intel's not moving again. I wish it was. Marvell, why were we talking about this today? Up 5%, obviously on TSMC, so that's a good one. Microsoft, I'm just trying to find names that are bigger names. I mean, if you guys want anything, you can ask me in the chat. Microsoft moving around as well, so that's enough for me. It doesn't look like we got stopped out or anything happened at all to the stocks that we're looking at.
Yeah, same here. Nothing happened on anything I was watching. Nikola's there for a couple million, but remember, it's a penny stock, so to offset 2.4 million to buy is going to require less than $2 million in an account. So really, that's not a significant imbalance at all for Nikola. It's worth looking at. I think the big one, I mean, TLT, we've seen it before. I've never actually, every time I see a big imbalance on TLT, I look for some kind of an edge, and I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything significant, like go long here or fade it, or it's not even moving. I don't know why. On a 5 million imbalance, it's doing absolutely nothing. So I guess it's just going to get paired off. Uber, did Uber make the break? Oh, not yet. Oh, got right to 65. Oh, that was probably a good short.
Sweet Caroline.
That means the breakout can still happen tomorrow. That's the good news. 65 is not broken on Uber. That means it's still set up for tomorrow. I'm just going to get out of NEO on the offer here because it's not going any further than this. So let's just get out as it gets back into VWAP. And you guys, someone in the chat said, big volume spike on NEO. This ridiculous whatever that was happened. Wait for it to break out the local high and see if it could do it again. It kind of did, but it just took a little bit longer. Rivian, we'll probably have to cover this one flat. Made one push to the downside. Now it's right back to where I got into this thing. So I think I'm probably just going to get out of Rivian. I'm not even going to wait for a stop order. I'm just going to take the bid.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing right now. I just did everything myself.
Yeah, like the market is actually pressing through the high of the day. That's the other thing that's happening. The NASDAQ's 1.5 and it's pressing through the high of the day. So if something bounced on the imbalances, I'd just be getting out. Like if you're long something as the market's breaking, it's like, yeah, see if you can't hold it a little bit longer. AMD beast, Uzi just said, and Sebastian saying look at cost. Well, we've looked at AMD a lot in the last couple of days, but haven't looked at Costco in a while. You were mentioning Costco in the aftermarket show.
Yeah.
Guess what stock? And I was like, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, because I was talking about the retail, and I was like, I don't like anything really in retail. However, the podcast, I have a new retail name that I'm going to be dropping on the podcast.
I'm just guessing.
What?
Well, I said the first one because it's the only one I own is Walmart. That's not true because Amazon's a retail name too.
Could be Walmart.
Amazon's a retail name, but I want to remind everybody because we mentioned the podcast, but we haven't reminded everybody there's no market recap show tonight because the podcast is being taped. So there's a market recap tomorrow. There isn't one tonight. Well, we used to be able to tape things simultaneously. We used to do that. around.
Well, the thing is, we only have that one.
But we only
desk.
have the one desk. That's the issue. So it's
Yeah.
it's physically possible to tape 2 things at once, but we
And
only
then
have
this guy
the
will
one
be
big
doing it
desk.
tomorrow. So that. What? Yeah. We're gonna figure it all out. We'll get it all figured out. Thank you, Ramin. One day I was late for it, and like I'm getting messages from Ramin. It's like, where are you? We got to film this podcast. She had some date with some big Wall
Didn't you?
Street broker or something.
Yeah, you
over
said
there.
something, Remain.
Ramin.
Yeah, you did. She's like, I didn't say that. It was right here. Somebody, it wasn't Fabian. Fabian sounds
Said
very
what?
different to you. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah. Okay, just really real quick here. I just wanted to say the same thing because heading into that imbalance, I just feel that Neil and I have been sitting here for a very long time, obviously, as we just talked about, Neil being 48 and me being 43 or 44, whatever I am. These imbalances will really affect the market a lot of days. It didn't actually do it today, but something to watch out for moving forward. So I just think that it is a wise decision to get out in front of those imbalances. So we did that on BABA, we did that right there, and then we also, I just want to talk about Affirm quickly because we did cover Affirm. So everything is out, everything is all good in the hood as Neil doing the shimmy shake right now.
No, that was the Bogle, man.
Oh, I missed it. Okay, I saw you doing something over there.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
What is that called?
Sean was talking, and I'm sitting here. I have no positions on.
like
My
this.
face
What-
is in there.
what-
No,
what-
this, it's like the
Yeah.
the Bogle. That's from like, it's a...
That's like a reggae thing.
It's a reggae thing. Remember, not Shabba Ranks. It would have been... what's his name? Oh, goodness. Mad Cobra. That's what song you think about. The Flex. That's the song.
Yes, that's the song,
Yeah,
but I
there
had
you go.
no idea the dude's name was Mad Cobra.
You, come on. Mad, that song was the it.
I know the song.
When I was in junior high, that song would get played and nobody had, like the teachers and whatever were completely oblivious to the lyrics, and it was like utter nonsense when that would hit.
Yeah, there was something.
No idea how old I am. But with 5 minutes to go here, I cancel all my orders, cancel all my stops. Costco, by the way, 52-week highs. Fresh new ones actually made today.
Costco?
Yeah, that's why we brought it up, because it's at the highs. Wait a minute, I got a wick. Yeah, it's at the highs. There you go.
Anytime you can charge people to
Right at the
shop
high.
at your place,
Right at the high.
I mean, let's go.
Look at this thing.
Thank you,
Buy the
Adam
dip.
DeLuz. Thank you.
Buy and hold, man.
We-
Buy and hold good stocks.
That's
Buy and hold. And could look at this thing. Probably at the highs as well is going to be Walmart. Nike was interesting in that it was bouncing, but they've been under some pressure because of Japan. Or sorry, China. Japan. Who cares about Japan?
we actually talked about that. That was Brendan's new strategy. That was his one thing that he was going to do, is never sell anything. And I was like, you know what?
Anything.
I know. I said the same thing. I was like, huh, Brendan? Like, is you feeling okay? But the thing is like, he's actually right, and I'm actually probably going to take the same thing as well. I think if it gets overextended, like okay, NVIDIA is overextended now, but why are you selling it? You know, it's like one of those things where I thought it was overextended at $5, so I took some money out, but I didn't really put it back to work because it didn't fall down nothing fell in that much.
But there's reasons to, so if the reason you like the company changes, then you can sell it.
You're right. Like
it's
change of ownership, management, like
Yeah.
CEO change.
Like
Fabian becomes the new CEO.
like
or
there's
something.
reasons. So they could have a ridiculous set of quarters. There's some big material change in the company. Maybe you've lost faith in Boeing's ability. Like whatever it might be, there's reasons to sell. But if you like the company there and you're
But
holding
it's
it
just
to
like you sell
retirement.
Boeing at $2 and then you wake up the next day it's at $2.12. It's just like it's like that FOMO feeling. That's all.
It's true. Like for me, if I sell a company I like, it's because my weighting in the stock, to me, got a little bit high. Like Lilly is the example of that, because like I didn't want Eli Lilly to be like the fourth biggest stock that I was holding individually. I never really envisioned that when I bought it, and there was some concern that it could have a bigger pullback. But to me, I also want to hold this forever, as long as I can. Well, at least until retirement and that stuff. Like that should go without saying. 2 minutes to go. Elite Gaming, could you please review Crowd for me? So without looking at the chart, Crowd is an absolute rocket ship. It's at its 52-week
Well, it's
high.
definitely at its 52-week high.
It's broken its high of the day today in the last 5 minutes. 100%. It actually isn't at the 50. Sorry about that.
That's the.
It's
52.
close enough, man.
That is the 52-week.
I didn't even look at the chart. Oh, it's not breaking out at the top today. It got to the highs, up 2.5%. This is another rocket ship. You're not going anywhere without seeing the strength in some of these cybersecurity names. This is actually outpacing Pan W in some ways. It's getting a little parabolic up here for CrowdStrike. But hey, man.
Congratulations!
Like whichever one you happen to own, it doesn't really matter because they've both been fantastic. PNW lately has been a little bit better, but over the last year, I think Crowd's like slightly the winner. But they're both winning. Just again, like these are both quality names that they're in a market that the addressable market's only growing, and it's growing exponentially. So I think that's fantastic. Both of them have been crazy. James Choi just says plug is dead cheap. That's about the only thing it is dead cheap.
Well, it's definitely dead, whether or not it's cheap or not. Look, when you don't have any earnings or you don't have anything going on, what is cheap exactly? You're seeing that with Lucid, you're seeing that with Fisker. The bottom is zero on all of these stocks. It's just a matter of do we get there or not. Let's just check out what Apple's doing at the end of the day here. I just want to see if it is closing. Okay, good. So our out on Apple was literally right here. So pretty happy with that. Our out was 188.75 actually, so pretty good right there for Apple. That's a $3 winner into the end of the day. So far so good here into the close. It's been a fantastic day. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to give everyone a heads up to Obi being in this seat tomorrow. So I hate leaving when we're doing this in the market, but there's only 10 seconds left. Now, close all your positions. Make sure that all your scripts and stop orders are now canceled. And let's see what Adara's up to in 3, 2, 1. We done. All right, welcome to the close.
It is the close.
We are now here, and that's a wrap.
Well, usually we're doing like the throw. I'll make sure you're set up. We thank everybody, which we'll do again. But just remember, there's no market recap because the podcast is being filmed tonight. It'll be dropped as usual Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, wherever you happen to get them, Spotify, Apple. It'll be on YouTube as well. You can watch it. You can listen to it. Shout out to Fabian and Ramin. Appreciated. We'll try to keep this as brief as possible, making us look and sound good. Great job today in the midday. You got the trifecta. You had Sharif, you had Adara, and you had Obi coming in. So shout out to Obi, and we'll be seeing Obi tomorrow, filling in for Sean, who'll be at the rink at like 3 a.m. Tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Or at least on the way to the rink at 3 a.m. But thank you, everybody. Obviously, we want to give a big thank you to, in the morning, Luis, in the afternoon, Frank. Great guests, as always, absolutely crushing it. And Frank pumped the markets. That's Sean.
Yep.
I'm Neil. It's been an absolutely fun day. The week is not over just yet. No market recap today. It's back tomorrow. But we'll be back bright and early, 8:30, again, to hit these markets. Ciao.